Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Thank you once again for joining us here on Facebook Live. We hope you had a wonderful weekend and are ready to start out this very busy and exciting week. So today is our Monday Microscope Challenge. This is a regular series that we're going to be starting on Facebook Live through the Bell Museum. And so we'll be placing some items underneath the microscope for you to make your best guesses as to what we're looking at. We're joined once again by Adam Hartman, the Gallery Programs Coordinator at the Bell Museum, who's inside our Touch and See lab with all the equipment and things for us to take a look at. So give us your best guesses, type all of your comments and answers in the comments box on Facebook, and we'll see if we as a team can decide what we're looking at underneath the microscope. Adam, take it away.
Hi guys, thanks for joining us again. So if you weren't here for our last microscope challenge, I'll just go over what I'm going to do here quickly. So what I'll do is I'll switch my camera over to the little microscope I have set up, and then I'll give you guys a clue, give you a few seconds to type any answers or guesses you have into the chat, and then I will zoom out and give you another clue and so on until we guess what the item under it is. So I'll switch over my camera here. Okay, so the first clue, this organism is covered in stiff hairs that can be flicked or sloughed onto potential predators, causing irritation to the skin and eyes. That was a bit long, so just to summarize, I guess, this organism is covered in stiff hairs, as you can probably see from that image.
So Adam, while we're waiting for some guesses to come in, can you tell me a little bit more about how close up we're looking at this, or what type of microscope you're using?
So I'm not sure how close we are because I have kind of a weird setup here just to make sure that I have all the images right. But I'm using a Celestron Micro Direct HD microscope, and so what it does is it just has a USB. And you can connect it to a computer, and it basically acts as another camera. And so I just switch between cameras, and you're able to see what's under the microscope. You think we're ready for a second clue here?
Yeah, let's go to the second clue. I haven't seen any guesses yet.
I'll go ahead and kind of zoom out a little bit. Oof, might be a bit challenging here. Okay, so the second clue is it eats mostly insects and other invertebrates, but it can sometimes eat frogs, lizards, and even mice. Which are very big compared to its body size. We seeing any guesses or?
I haven't seen any guesses quite yet. We've got about 20 people taking a look, but maybe they're just looking really closely this morning.
Maybe I can move this around a little bit. And I must have made it difficult.
Adam, I've had two guesses that have just rolled in, one from Bryn and one from Wes, and both of them are guessing that it might be a tarantula.
Okay, interesting. Well, with that, I guess I'll go ahead and zoom out for the last clue. Okay, and the final clue is it uses its two large fangs, which you can see there, to hold its prey and inject them with venom. And it sounds like, from those guesses, that people caught on pretty quickly to what I was putting under the microscope. It is a tarantula. Not a full tarantula, it's just a Tarantula Molt. And you can see, if you can, I guess I can't really point out on this, but if you can see those kind of dark spots right there, those are the holes where the legs were pulled out for the molt. And hold on a second. So this is the whole thing. And so, like I said, it's a Tarantula Molten. What that is when a tarantula or any other invertebrate really grows too big for its exoskeleton, it has to break out of that exoskeleton and grow a new one. So in this case, our tarantula grew too big and it had to shove its way out of its own skin, basically, so it could grow bigger.
We did have one question from Andrea. Andrea was actually kind of surprised and was wondering if a tarantula can actually eat a snake.
Did I say snake? So I have frogs, lizards, and even mice, but you know, if it was a small snake, I'm sure it could eat it. I can't promise that. But if it can eat a lizard, I suppose it can eat a snake. This is a Chilean rose-haired tarantula, which is a relatively common pet species. I mentioned before that they have venom, and I believe all tarantulas are venomous to some degree, but as far as I know, the venom isn't toxic enough to kill a human unless you happen to be like extremely allergic to it. But at most, it really is just irritating to the skin. And so the way that they inject that venom is with these two large fangs. And I realize I don't really have a thing to point with here, but you can see right here, they're kind of tucked up. And the way that they eat is they'll grab their prey with those two fangs, which have venom glands that in them, and they use that to inject it into their prey. And then to consume it, they'll inject the prey then with digestive enzymes that kind of liquefy the body, and they'll kind of just slurp up the body of whatever they're eating until it's all gone. A little morbid,
but very cool.
Yeah.
So this actually came from one of the tarantulas that we have in the Touch and See lab, correct?
Yes. Yep.
And how many of this particular type of tarantula do we have in the Touch and See lab? And can you tell us a little bit more about their habitat in our lab?
Yep. So they have we have two Chilean rose-haired tarantulas. We've had more in the past, but unfortunately they have a shortish lifespan. But they aren't huge fans of humidity, so we have them in pretty dry coconut fiber tanks, or with coconut fiber substrate. And we'll give them like 1 or 2 crickets a week, and sometimes they won't even eat that. And most of the time they just hang out. They don't really do too much. But I can switch it back.
So Adam, spiders very often can be one of those things that that some people can have a great deal of fear around. Can you tell us a little bit more about spiders and their importance in the ecosystem?
Yeah, so I think a lot of what scares people about spiders is that they have the 8 legs and they just look a little weird crawling around. But one thing that they do really well is they're excellent predators, and they are great at controlling insect pest populations, or things that we consider pests. Tarantulas maybe don't eat a lot of the insects we have around here, but the spiders that we do have throw up webs and get mosquitoes and flies, all the kind of things that irritate us, especially in the summer.
Absolutely. Well, I'm happy to say that we had quite a few people guess, right away, even after just a few clues. I want to thank you once again for being in the Touch and See lab and for showing us some stuff under the microscope. It's really cool to be able to see some of those things, even though the building is closed. So, I want to thank everyone once again for joining us. We will have future Monday microscope challenges. And if you're around this afternoon, you can also join us once again on Facebook Live. We're going to be doing kind of some virtual star events and talking a little bit more about the Jupiter and Saturn conjunction today at 4:30. So we hope you'll join us again then. Adam, thanks once again for joining us.
Thanks for having me.